Welcome back to Peaks 47. So I'm just going to give this its first coat of colour. Hopefully it will highlight any imperfections that I can try and touch in later. I'm probably going to disguise this with some vegetation in these areas. All this is obviously covered by the rock face anyway. Majority of it's pretty good. I've got this patch here from when it was used on a previous layout. I was going to try and make a nicer job of this, but I'm actually going to try and make a feature of this. So when I come to weather it, I'm going to actually put rust around the edges as if there was an old bout coming out of there in a previous life for the model itself. Obviously this is where the new conveyor belt's going in. So I'm using the same stuff I was using on the belts in the previous videos if you've seen them. And this is this acetate etch primer, and this is designed for bare metal, but I'm purely only using it because it's giving the colour that I'm after. I just want to warn you, if you do use this stuff, you've got to wear a mask with it. It absolutely stinks. It's really brutal stuff. I'm sure there's probably better things out there that will give you the same colour as this, but as you probably know by now, if you've been subscribed for a while, I try and use what I've got at hand, try and do everything on a budget the best I can. This is what I've got, this is the colour I'm happy with, so this is what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to leave that to dry out in the sun for 20 minutes, then come back to it to start doing the first stages of weathering. It's a bit dog-eared in a couple of places, but you know what, I can use that to my advantage. When I'm coming to weather it, I can rust these little edges up. I think I'm going to have a go at running some 1 or 2 mil static grass down this edge as if it would naturally gather in there. So all in all, I think I can make something quite good of this. I think my scratch building entrance on the conveyor belts pretty good as well. Perhaps tidy this edge up, but again with some weathering I think I can lose that. Same with the edges around here, and then I think I'm going to make a slot with some ridges in and then have a bout coming out, maybe another 20 mil going in, just to give it some detail going into there. I've just started painting this up. I think I'm going to actually fit this in situ before I do any more of the weathering on it. So when I'm airbrushing the building all at the same time, just so it's going to be uniform. So I've just started repainting the duct tape black again, the conveyor belt. Just paint these ridges now in a slightly darker grey. And then I'll leave that for now and do the rest with the building itself. Okay, so that already looks better as far as I'm concerned in grey rather than black. Let it blend in a bit more with the landscape. From the research that I've done in the war, which obviously only ended 2 years ago in 45, a lot of buildings like this would have been painted grey to blend in to their surrounding areas as a little bit of camouflage. So I'm pleased with that. I just want to give a shout out to Russell Hutsby. I hope that's how you pronounce your surname, mate. Please correct me if you're listening to this. So this guy has done some fantastic weathering on these sort of corrugated steel buildings. If you search his name under some of the big Facebook groups, you'll see some of his work come up. He's been kind enough to give me some references of some of his works so I can use as a guide. And I just thought it was really important to give him credit where it's due. His work's phenomenal. If I can get it 50% as good as his work, I'll be happy. So Russell Hutsby, thanks again, mate. Cheers. So I've got my two chosen colours that I've just mixed up myself. So I've got a really dark rust colour for rust that's a bit more established, and then a fresher rust that's a bit more newer. I'm going with this light orange colour. So after looking at a lot of pictures, I've noticed on them, and on original pictures this is, that the rust seems to be a lot worse on the outer ridge and seems to be a little bit better on the lower spots. So in these bits lower down, it seems to have an element of protection. So I'm going to use the sponge method and do the outer ridges in the dark rust where it's more established, and then perhaps with the airbrush use the different colour for the lower parts. Now I'm not going to go all the way up to the top of the roof, because I figured as it would weather, this very top bit would have an element of protection from the overhang of the roof. So I'm going to stop just shy when I'm putting the sponge on. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. So I'm just dabbing the sponge into the lid, wiping most of it off, and then just a case of just stroking it down, not putting too much pressure on, so I'm only touching the high spots. As you can see, that's picking up the detail already. So I don't think I'm going to go much further with that colour for now. So I've tried to replicate where I think the rust would be at its worst. So obviously more water will sit on this edge than up here, and the same within this ridge on the top. The moisture would collect lower down, so I've tried to put a bit more there. Where there's panel edges, water would be able to sit, so this would be rusted out considerably more. And the same on this bottom edge, I'm going to go a little bit harder along here, as if where the water has ran down the building and it's collected along this top edge. So I'm going to use a combination of colours. The first one that I'm going with is a light rust. Here's the coat there on the top. So I'm going to try down here, a bit that's not important that you don't see, just to give me an idea of what it's going to look like. And that's sort of the thing that I'm looking for. So I'm happy with that. With this colour over these more established bits of rust, should give me the look I'm going for. I'm going to put the airbrush at an upward angle so that I can miss this top edge. I want to try and keep this top edge a little bit cleaner. That's getting there. The next colours I'm probably going to use once I've gone over with this is a more of an oranger rust. and then I'll finish off with some white and then possibly some white powders as well to create a dust effect on it from all the quarrying that's been going on around it. I'm quite pleased with how that's progressing. So I'm going to try with some powders now. Ideally I'd like a white, but I haven't got a white. I've got this concrete dust. So I'm going to use that now to weather up the conveyor belt a little bit. So I'm going to fill this with ballast as well to replicate crushed limestone. I'd say that's probably ready for its load there.